Today I'm going to inform you about the evolution of women and how far we've come over the years. As many people know, women haven't always had the same opportunities as everyone else. Although we are put in difficult situations, that hasn't stopped us from overcoming major obstacles. From the beginning of time, women have been known for their beauty, but what not everyone can see is we are more than just that. Throughout the years, we have made huge impacts in fighting for our rights to be equal. When I mean equal pay and opportunities. I will present to you information that I have collected from womenhistory.org, historyhouse.gov, and www.insider.com. Women have fought for equality for decades upon decades, and we are still fighting to this day. Today I'm going to inform you on how women's rights have changed and the many people who have helped us to get to this point. The struggle they went through and their triumphant victories. I'm also going to shed light upon the small victories they've won over the years. As I mentioned before, women have taken tremendous steps towards equality. According to the National Women's History Museum, the women's suffrage began in 1848, when a women's rights convention was held in Seneca Falls, New York. The Seneca Falls meeting was in fact not the first women's rights meeting, but is viewed as the one which launched the movement. For the next 50 years, they worked tirelessly to educate the general public on the true meaning of the women's suffrage movement. Under the leadership of Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton and other women's rights pioneers, after countless hours, they were able to get Congress to pass the amendment to enfranchise women. Now I'm sure I can guess what each of you are thinking. Why is this in any way important? This law gave women everywhere in the U.S. the right to vote. That was a huge step in history towards equality. Women like Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton and many other ladies shaped the future for many other leading ladies. During the Civil War, they did not want their movement to get marginalized, so they focused their time and energy on earning the right to vote, which they accomplished, as I mentioned before. To set forth with the movement, Stanton and Anthony created the National Women's Suffrage Association, also known as the NWSA. The AWSA, or the American Women's Suffrage Association, was also born. The AWSA was better funded and was also the larger out of the groups. Neither groups in the beginning had much luck on catching the attention of male board members and congressmen. Knowing these facts about the start of the women's suffrage movement gives you a bigger understanding of the struggles. The first women's suffrage meeting in Seneca Falls, New York was an excellent starting point. Women like Anthony and Stanton created the NWSA to spread more awareness of the suffrage and the effort being put into to push the movement forward. Even after making the NWSA, they still struggled to be heard, even with thousands of women fighting alongside them for their rights. Now that you have a basic understanding of the beginning of the women's suffrage movement, let's look at the next phase on fighting for equality. The next steps after earning the right to vote. After women gained the right to vote, they were thrilled, but decided they shouldn't stop there. And boy, are we glad they didn't. After earning their right, women were still noticing the inequality between men and women. They were still expected to raise a family and serve their husbands. They just got their first taste of freedom, and they didn't want to stop there. They wanted the right to have their own jobs and have as much knowledge as men. They finally got the opportunity to provide for themselves when World War I started. The woman took this as a way to show everybody they are more than just housewives and children caretakers. Sadly, when the men came back from the war, women continued to struggle to prove their worth. When World War II broke out, the U.S. was devastated, but the women of America were there to help pick up the pieces. They took up jobs meant for men, and they did them well. The nation was finally seeing how important women are to the economy. After World War II, people were finally starting to give women equal opportunities. Before we knew it, we were making history, from the first women politicians to breaking records in history. Once we were given the chance, it didn't take us long to make our mark. As I mentioned previously, women were finally starting to get the same chances as men. Women have come so far in their fight for rights, but we still have a long way to go. Women today are still being objectified for our bodies and not being recognized for our minds. I hope today I've informed you about the women's rights movement and the important ladies that made it possible. I also hope that this information will help you make a decision to stand with women everywhere for equality for all. Now I will show you my visual aid. This is the women protesting for their right to vote, if you can see. This is Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. This is the woman working in World War I. And this is also the woman working in World War II. As you can see, they are taking up jobs that are usually meant for men. And these are the women today still marching for equality for us. Thank you.
That was very good.
Maggie, you cannot slouch like that. You
I
have to
can't.
sit back.